Mill Pond, September 6, 2014. Most people will recognize this view. This is west of the tennis courts. The background, you can hear a rally for Save the Park by the Save Mill Pond Park people up on Willard Avenue by the soccer fields, which is just on the other side of the Schoolhouse Brook from here. Schoolhouse Brook is one of the main tributaries to Mill Pond, the actual pond itself. Interestingly, you can see these tire tracks. This is what indicated to me yesterday when I came here what happened. On Thursday evening, I presented to the town Environmental Quality Commission evidence of the town illegally dumping fill into wetlands here. It's been systemic and ongoing for, looks like, a long time. What they do is they bring their stone dust and clay out of the tennis courts right here, come right across the lawn here, and dump it right here. Okay, so this is the originally the embankment for the wetlands here, for the overflow area of Schoolhouse Brook, is somewhere underneath where we're standing right here, because this, like I said, is systemic. You can see all the clay and material that came out of the tennis courts. See it very clearly here. If anyone wonders where it came from. The red and the gray, dust and clay. So you could see we're 10, 15, 20 feet from the actual, well, from the brook itself, maybe 50 feet, but you could clearly see how close we are in the physical wetland. We're actually in it. We're in it by terms of the map delineation, but also we're in it in the physical. We're looking right here at a 6 foot or 7 foot, 6 foot at least drop down to the floor of the wetland. So we're standing on top of what used to be wetland, and it's all along the edge here. You can see it. See the clay, the red clay, the gray clay. I mean the red clay, the gray dust. You can see what it's done here. It has stressed these trees to the point of death. All these trees right here have just been hammered by this. I don't know if there's, I don't think there would be chemicals in the dust, in the clay, but maybe there is. Do they, it's possible they put some chemicals in there to keep it packed down. I know they do that with the roads in Vermont. I think it's a calcium chloride or something. But well, if you could appreciate how high the fill is here compared to the floor of the wetland that these trees were right at the edge of. This film is not going to show it very clearly, but the floor again is several feet down. Oh, see right here. We're talking 4 feet down from where I'm standing here is the other side of this tree and at the floor of the wetland. So whether or not this fill caused the death of these trees, it's kind of interesting. Wherever there's a clump of this clay and dust, the trees are dead. I mean, look at them. They're all bare, dead, and no foliage on it. These are just vines growing up here. I think it would be a good idea to take some samples of this material or look into the practices of what else is in here. Is it just stone and clay-based material, or if there's anything else in there. Okay. There's really no disputing what happened and, you know, how it happened. The only dispute would be why it happened. So as we continue down here, again, it's all along this entire edge over here. Some are more obvious than others. The piles of clay. Here's a very large mountain, massive pile of it. You're only seeing the tip of it, the top of it here. But this one is quite large. It's pushed way back here again. These are some of the same trees, I think, that, yeah, right from over there. But you can see the fill is 2-3 feet up from the on the trunk of the tree. That's almost certainly to kill a tree. It's sure worked pretty efficiently here. And here we can see we are within 25-30 feet of the cattails growing right there. And it doesn't get any better as we go this way. Like I said, on Thursday, the 4th, I presented evidence to them of this problem. There you go, this is all red clay. Again, well beyond the embankment, well into the physical wetlands, way beyond the line on the wetland map. This was the most obvious spot. So what the town did on Friday, the very next morning, I'm pretty sure they didn't get the emails until that morning, came out here immediately, irresponsibly came in here with heavy equipment instead of removing the obvious parts of it. What they thought was probably doing a good job, or I think what they thought, I think what they were doing was obvious, a political damage control here. But what they did was made it worse. They pushed the material further into the wetland, further off the embankment to level it off. They removed the brush and leaves piles that were here that were probably just from last year. But by doing that, they tried to cover up some of this piles of this mound would have been probably up here somewhere, a couple feet high. Well, look where it went. Further into the wetland, further over the embankment, further extending the land, further eliminating the physical wetland. So, I mean, there's really, it's just kind of loss of words to describe it. But I'm just providing the proof, documenting what happened here. I was urging cooler minds and then not self-incrimination with calling in state or federal agencies to report ourselves. It seems kind of counterproductive, but when they react like this to cover their own tracks and actually do more damage, the material that was sitting here was in no danger of causing further damage. There's no emergency to remove it. Let's put it that way. There's no urgency to remove it. The only urgency was to make it look better for those proponents of this park plan and protect themselves, make themselves look less culpable to this destruction of wetlands. So. Pretty sad. You can see here where that drops off, where it used to drop off before it was filled up so high on around these trees. The area of the filling, this is Schoolhouse Brook. This is kind of the backwater kind of overflow, or I'm not sure how you'd refer to it. The brook is a little to the right out of the view here, but this is a body of water that kind of goes parallel to that back about a couple hundred feet. So the area of filling was just to the left of this body of water here. When this backs up with seasonal flooding, it would be right up to the embankment where the filling has occurred. just to give a perspective for everyone of where it is. Obviously this is the bridge on the over Schoolhouse Brook. I think the conclusion here is pretty obvious. We have a town management system and a town hire staff that completely contradicts our own plan, 2020 plan of conservation. They just seem to completely ignore it. Not only ignore it, absolutely contradict it and go against it. It's been evident in many of the high-profile projects and issues that have been proposed, notwithstanding this proposal to put a community center in the park. It's very irresponsible and destructive. Thanks for watching.